Was Amy Trask right about Brock Purdy? People got really upset when she said he was the worst of the remaining quarterbacks left in the divisional round, the worst of 8. She said he was really good, but not as good as the other 7. Was she right?
Okay, well, let's do it this way, Iggy. There are 4 left, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just make it a gang of 4 and see where he ranks. I want to preface this by saying I know Amy very well. You know, all those years she was with the Raiders. And Amy and I get along extremely well. We often meet at this market called the Village. Now she's moved to the LA area, but she's up here, and we meet at the Village Market over by Broccoli and the other stuff. And we always give each other a hug and how you doing and all of that. She was around football a lot, but really in administration. She wasn't in personnel, so I don't know the extent of her knowledge about players as opposed to contracts and things like that. On the other hand, she's really smart and she learns very quickly. So I like the idea that she came out and said something provocative. I love it. I don't say, who the hell is she? I love that she did that. I love people like that. So there's 4 quarterbacks left. Let's take them first AFC. Mahomes. Mahomes is better than Brock Purdy. I don't think there's a sane person on earth who could say Brock Purdy is better than Mahomes, except his wife and his family, which, you know, they're entitled.
Brock Purdy wouldn't say that he's better than Patrick Mahomes. If he thinks he's better than Patrick Mahomes, then he's not the guy I think he is.
Okay, so we can agree that Patrick Mahomes, who is probably one of the greatest quarterbacks who ever lived in the Montana Brady class, is better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go over to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson. I have misgivings about him in that I don't think he's a good pocket passer, and I question him as a passing quarterback. But what a runner. So in terms of a passing quarterback, he may not be as good as Brock Purdy, although his numbers were very good last week. I think he had a 120 passer rating, and Brock had something like 86. So although he may not quite over long haul be the passer, he is that Purdy is. He is such a weapon from the pocket. He's better on the run. You're right, and he is the greatest weapon in the league, even better than Debo, who is a great weapon. Not a great wide receiver,
Josh Allen, in my opinion. Josh Allen's a good weapon too.
He is. So I would listen, Iggy. I would have to say, if I were choosing up a team and it was between Brock and Lamar, I'd take Lamar. How about you?
I would take Lamar. I would take Josh Allen. I would take, and the question is, Goff. Like, I think everyone would take Purdy over Goff because Purdy's younger and more mobile. But Goff did play better than Purdy this weekend, for whatever it's worth.
He did.
He did.
So, okay. Now, so what Brock is contending for is not first place, second place, third or fourth. Do you put him third or do you put him fourth?
I put him fourth.
Ooh.
If he wins this weekend, he jumps to third. But again, his legacy and quarterback legacies to me ultimately are based on what you do in the playoffs. And right now, his playoff resume isn't that great. If he beats the Lions in the NFC Championship game, it's really good. But right now, I mean, Goff won an NFC Championship game. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's accomplished more than Brock Purdy has in his career. So Purdy has to win this game to leapfrog Goff. He hasn't done it yet. He could get Goffed.
It could be Purdy who gets Goff and not Goff.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say Brock Purdy is number 3.
Okay.
And I put Goff number 4, very close. I may be prejudiced because 1, I see Brock Purdy a lot more. And 2, I do love his story. I don't actually root for him, but I love his story is phenomenal. Steve Young said they ought to make a movie about him, or write a book about him. Here's what I think. I think he's mentally tougher than Jared Goff. I don't think he's the kind of guy who flops flops, who falls off in the second half the way Goff does. I think if he gets hit, it doesn't bother him. If Goff gets hit, it does bother him. He doesn't play as well. He doesn't like it. So, and I think maybe across a whole 60-minute game, he's a more precise, more accurate passer. I feel that about him. I think he's a better quarterback. So,
Goff has a really great arm. Goff has one hell of an arm.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. But
It is a
here's
tough
the
one.
thing. Where we're disagreeing. Is there a bet in this? I have one more thing to say before we talk
Yeah.
about a bet.
Yeah.
You and I had always said the one thing that Purdy needs to prove is, can he bring his team back?
Yeah.
Did he do that? Do you think he did that against the Packers?
He did do it against the Packers. Absolutely.
So he checked that big box for me. No,
No question.
I like him better. I like him better than Goff. I do. So can we say there's one say who wins the game, but we could make it more specific. Who has a
higher passer rating?
Why don't we bet on that?
Yeah. Okay.
Who has a
Goff
higher
passer rating? You owe me a bottle of wine, and if Purdy has a higher passer rating, I owe you a bottle of wine.
Fair enough. What now? I owe you a Beaujolais right now. What are we betting? This is a bigger bet. What are we betting on this one?
You want to go Nebbiolo? You want to go?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Nebbiolo.
Okay. Sounds good.
Will you remember?
Yeah, I am. I will.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be down on Brock. He wasn't that great against. He was clutch, but he wasn't that great against the Packers. And everyone's like, well, it rained. Okay. Well, I thought he had a very similar game against the Cowboys at home in the divisional round last year. And now I'm starting to wonder, is this just a playoff thing for Brock Purdy? Because frankly, that was the deal with Jimmy. Jimmy would have great years. He would have excellent numbers in the regular season, and then the playoffs would happen, and he would all fall apart because it's different. It's a whole different season. So we have to see from Brock. Yeah.
I want to say I admire your courage to go against the flow. I do admire that. And I think your reasons are good. And I think we have a legitimate bet.
Okay. I like a legitimate bet. Let's take some legitimate super chats. Josh Wyatt says, if the Niners set the terms of the fight, do you think they can win on points, or do they need to knock the Lions out?
I think they can win them. I think they can win a 12-round decision.
Every question has to be in boxing metaphor terms today.